Hey guys, I'm doing a rebuild of this starter. Now I've already kind of cheated and cleaned this thing up with with my parts washer, and I've got the rebuild kit. This is just a GM rebuild kit. This one came from Victory Lap, GMS01 starter kit, and a new solenoid. This one just came from Advanced Auto Parts. Basically in your starter kit you'll get a new drive gear, all the bushings, the little retaining clip, some new soft washers, and brushes. And the GM had two different types of brushes they used in their starters. Make sure you match them up. I've already got the brushes in this one. I've already had it cleaned up and everything. I just wanted to make a video. But getting down to nitty gritty, this is a 5/16 bolt here. This is going to your ground strap on your solenoid. Got two of these screws. Once you get those out, kind of give your solenoid a little twist, everything will pop out. Get your spring, and all a solenoid is for a starter is an electromagnet. So as you put current to the starter solenoid, it pulls this cylinder back, and that engages your gear. You can see there. Now I just took a punch and made a couple marks on both end plates to make sure I get everything put back the way it should be, or the way it came apart. But after the fact, I found out that this starter actually has a alignment dowel pin. So now switching over to, you'll have to excuse my washer running in the background, switching over to a 3/8 socket. You can take these two bolts out of the end. Which they're kind of long. And that will allow you to pull everything apart. Maybe. It's a little bit of persuasion. Apparently I need to get a better camera so that I can put it on the tripod. You'll have a bushing in here, and you'll have a replacement in the kit. This is the replacement. Basically all I did was take a punch and kind of dimple it down to where I could get a hold of it with a pair of pliers, pull it out, and then when you drive the other one, the new one in, it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit because this one's wore down, but just make sure everything goes together happy. And your case and everything will come apart, and this end is your brushes. And you can kind of see there how they are, and they just got a screw in them to take those out. Now what I did was I popped these pins out and pulled this whole assembly apart, cleaned it up and everything. Used electromotive cleaner. A little expensive, works great. Basically what you're cleaning out is all that old brush material out from around the field, coils and all that stuff. Just do one at a time. That way you make sure you get them back where they need to be. Clean everything out on the inside. Make everything happy. Now, here, this is a little bit tricky because you got your solenoid gear that you have to get loose. And I'm going to set the camera down for just a moment to do that. But there's your gear, and you'll have basically a collar that rides there, and then it has this little snap ring which you pretty much have to distort to get it off. Once you get it off, you can pull that little collar off, and then your drive assembly comes off. And I'll show you how to test that here in a minute. And here, this rides right there to push your gear out when that electromagnet is pulled. And then down in there is another bushing you'll have to replace. And if you want to get real in depth in cleaning everything up with a pair of snap ring pliers, pull this little snap ring off, which will allow you to pull this pin out. You can take your whole assembly out and clean it up. Mine was gunked up pretty bad. And there you have it, a completely disassembled starter, ready to be cleaned up. Like I said, you got a bushing there you'll replace. Your bushing there, and your brushes are the main things to replace. Your armature should not be bad. If it is, you're better off just getting a new starter. The reason I'm rebuilding this one is because I have some concerns with the auto parts stores end cones or nose cones. They're different and they don't quite line up with this one. So with going on that 350 for the car, I don't like to mess with adjustment shims if I can keep from it. New starter. Turning this one in as a core was maybe 60 bucks, 65 bucks. The rebuild kit for the starter was 10 bucks. The solenoid was 15, so I'm $25 in. So you save a little bit and you get to learn a little bit about how starters work. Basically, testing this, you're testing for continuity between, or ground if you want to, between your shaft and your commutator. This is going to be really hard to do holding the camera. Basically, you shouldn't have continuity. Now between here, any of these two all the way around, you should have continuity. That just is telling you that this is all intact. So I know that was kind of quick and very sloppy with my camera work on my phone, but hopefully that gives you kind of an insight into a starter. They're not that hard to rebuild. Outside of cleaning it and ordering parts, I've got maybe an hour into rebuilding this thing. So stay tuned.